All right, let's get to it.
All right, so we just came from the jointer. We jointed our edges on all of our boards. Now we're ready for glue, okay? So never be afraid to use lots of clamps, all right? I have here rough stock that's about 36 inches in length. I want 4 clamps for that. I'm gonna lay it all out here. Before you start any glue up operation, it's really critical to have just all of your stuff organized, right? I've got a nice clean workspace here. I've organized, I got all the clamps and glue and scraped everything. It's all the way. I've got all my clamps laid out. I got my bottle of glue. Edges are jointed. The last thing you want to do is turn glue up into a stressful event, because it certainly can be if all of a sudden you're looking for something. And actually, speaking of that, I need a rag. Can someone grab me a paper towel, please? Thanks, Will. So just a small piece is fine. Okay, so when we're doing glue up on edges, we just want a nice continuous bead of glue. Okay, just like that, nice continuous bead. And I'm going to take the other piece, and I'm actually just going to put that here. I'm going to just wipe. I'm just going to wipe it so I have a nice equal glue on both pieces. Glue joints need to go together wet. Okay, a wet glue joint means that there's an equal thin spread of glue on both surfaces. So that one's there, and I got one more here. Thanks, Will. Okay, so we don't need gobs of glue. We just want, we're going to give that quick little wipe, right? Make sure that we're nice and wet on both sides. That looks good. Okay, together it goes. Line up your ends. Now I'm going to start with one end here. I'm just going to tighten up one clamp. This is because when we resawed this on the bandsaw, we resawed to rough thickness. We didn't leave a ton of extra room for error. Right, we're at 7/16 thick right now. I want to end up at 3/8 after it's all done. That means I want to be pretty darn flush when I go and squeeze my clamps up. So what I'm doing is I'm starting at one end, I'm lining it up, and I'm just checking with my finger. I'm feeling to make sure that this panel is flush, and I'm moving boards up and down as needed. There to adjust for any discrepancies in the board heights as I glue up. Okay, just checking with my finger. And there we go. And these clamps can be good and snug, but you don't have to drive them home so hard that they start to deform the wood. Right? That's good. Nice and snug. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my piece of paper towel here, thanks to Will, and I'm just going to wipe off any excess glue just on the top. I should probably have a little bit of glue coming out on the bottom as well. We're going to actually check it. Sure enough, I have just a nice tiny little even bead of glue just kind of squeezing out on the bottom. That's actually perfect. That's just what I want. That lets me know that I got good glue coverage. Okay, but if we just wipe it off at least on one side, then really quickly with the glue scraper in an hour, right? Aaron's going to pull this out of clamps. We're just going to zip over the back side with a glue scraper and knock all those tiny little beads off. And then we can go to the thickness sander. And that's going to be in the next video. Just a couple of quick tips though around glue up. First of all, when you're gluing up panels, typically you want to have alternating grain. So that means from one board to the next, one board might have grain that makes a sad face. The next board you want grain to make a happy face. Okay, so that's typically what we do. However, in a case like the back panel for this tool chest project, you guys are going to prepare stock that's half the width that you need. We're going to resaw it into half. We're going to book match it. That way, any of the grain pattern on here is going to be completely mirror image. It's going to make a really cool pattern for the back panel of the tool chest. You have to, by very nature of that, the grain will be going the same way. Because that panel is captured entirely in a dado, we're not worried about it. Okay, moisture changes. That board is never going to cup or twist if it's fully captured in a dado, as in a panel like in this application. Okay, so just know that. This glue up here could easily be dented by these vice jaws. I'm not worried about that in this case because I've got lots of extra width. And actually Aaron's going to trim this to its final size before it goes into the CNC router. So any dents that are left here by these jaws are just going to be trimmed off anyways. But if you're doing something critical, you could just put little scraps of wood in here to prevent the jaws from denting your actual project. Okay? Once you guys have your glue up done, write your name on here and the time. Okay, and then you can put this to the side. That just lets people know when they can take it out of clamps, because probably you are not going to take this out of clamps. It's probably going to be someone in the class after you. They're going to want to steal your clamps and use them, and that's totally okay as long as your glue has set up enough. If you are the one that's taking clamps from another project, just kindly take that person's project out of the clamps and put it neatly underneath the table so that it's there when they come to retrieve it, and then you can by all means use the clamps that they had as well. We're going to be using a lot of clamps, a lot of people doing glue up this first little bit. Okay, so once this is fully glued up, we're going to treat this as an entirely new board, back to the start of our stock breakout process, back to feudal. Okay, that's it.